Hello everyone, Ted Fletcher with FMS Integration, here to show you if you're plugging into a Toshiba RemotEye 4 card for the first time, how you'd go through and do the configuration. By default, if you do not plug this card into your actual network, the default IP address is 192.168.1.168. I'll show you the default username and password once we get inside the menu. If you do plug this into your network, the card by default has DHCP enabled. So that means it will reach out to your DHCP server. It'll get an IP address assigned. So depending on whatever your network architecture is for that subnet that you plugged into, the card will get automatically addressed. So like I said, by default, 192.168.1.168 if you're plugging into this card for the first time and you're hooking on directly with the laptop. If you're unsure and think someone else is plugged into it and you can't figure out what the address is, you're always best to plug into the USB mini port on the front of the unit, use the terminal emulation program, and then figure out what it's been set up at. So here I'm going to open up my utility tool. It's the T upgrade from Toshiba. This one, because I'm running a Windows 11 machine, I actually updated mine from like 1.14 to 1.18. So here, if you know what the IP is, you can just click into the add, and then you can put in the information here. If you're not sure what it is, you can do this discovery. And this newer tool will work across multiple subnets, so just be aware of how many of these Toshiba RemotEye cards you have plugged into your network, because it might fill up this utility. I only have one plugged into my lab environment going through making this video, so it should only come back with one. And here you can see that it has that 192.168.1.101 as far as coming through. And typically it takes anywhere, I've noticed, like 5 to 10 seconds to resolve. Here we can see the status is green, so we got a good connection. We see that it's running firmware version 1.16. Right now there is no account logged in through here. So if I wanted to get into the card, I should be able to go here. Then I should be able to hit this browse. That should open up a browser. And then this is what the card looks like by default when you first get inside one, to where you have a username and password. Username is by default out of the box is Toshiba, all uppercase. Password is admin, ADMIN, also all uppercase. So the card will prompt you to go through and update itself the first time you come into it. So what you want to do here is we're going to put in the Toshiba, and then we're going to put in admin. It blocks it out. You can't see it. And then you are pretty much forced to have to do the login and first time setup. So if this is going onto your network, it's Chrome trying to be helpful. I'm just going to close my dash lane on that. So here I'm going to put in a default username and password. So here I'm just going to do admin, all lowercase, and then, for demo purposes, I'm just going to put in password. Highly recommend that you don't do that, but this is a demo. If you're putting on your network, you can put in an email address, confirm email address, how you want your login screen, if you want to have it actually disabled. And then if you even want to have guest mode. Guest mode, you can pretty much navigate everything with the interface. You just cannot actually change anything. So here I'm going to do next. And then we got more information. So if you wanted to update your system name, contact information, system location, if you wanted to change the IP address, you can even set up IPv6 discovery. So pretty straightforward. If you want to disable some stuff, you can get rid of the DHCP control, so you can lock it into that static IP. If you don't want to manage it by the MAC address, they do call out the MAC address kind of going across on here, but then you can also get to it in one of the other network screens. From here, if you wanted to enable Telnet, getting into the unit, and then SSH. So I'm going to hit finish. It's going to take it and then say that I need to log back in. So Here comes up our user's login. So if I put everything in correctly, this would be admin, and then password. You can click remember me if you have multiple devices you're trying to remember with unique username and passwords. Go to sign in. So currently I do not have this plugged into an actual UPS system. So that's where you're seeing the values coming in at 0, but that's how you get into the card for the first time. All right, thank you for your time. I'll make some more videos going over some of the different protocol options as far as in the menus. I'll even do one if you had to roll this back to a previous version of firmware. So thank you for your time and have a good day.